So, Aham Brahmasmi, that's a mantra that yogis chant. Aham Brahmasmi means I am Brahman. I am spirit. Brahman means spirit. So you chant that mantra to make you mindful of your true identity. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit. I am spirit. And then gradually you start implementing that more and more when you look in the mirror. Aham Brahmasmi, I'm not this body, I'm not my face and hair and all the things I'm seeing reflected. I'm spirit. This is the vehicle. This is the covering. This is the temporary, me, material me, the false identity. So these are mindfulness techniques that really produce real spiritual results.
Hello out there, this is Ruben and the Breaking Trail podcast, where you learn to navigate life's journey through ancient wisdom. And today, on the topic of mindfulness, what the benefits of mindfulness are and the potential limitations. So how we can see that in a true spiritual perspective. So, well, my experience is that you were speaking about people who say the truth for a motive but it's not always that clear. And I think that I feel that some of the books that I read from some spiritual teachers, they might not think that they want money or followers, but I think that still the truth that they present is good what they say but to an extent. It only takes you this far. And I guess that's that's where I felt that perhaps that's a good point to start in terms of mindfulness, because it's good. It's just that it takes you to a certain location. It takes you only so far, yeah.
Yeah, and understand the reason those teachers are teaching what they're teaching is because that's what they're attracted to. That's what attracts them. That's the goal that they would like to reach or have reached. And so therefore they want to, and even if it's with the best intentions, give that same opportunity to achieve what they have achieved or what they think is the goal. You see, not all spiritual teachers are enlightened to that n degree in whatever path they're on, but they are understanding this is good, and I want other people to have the same opportunity.
Exactly.
So they're presenting it from that angle, and it might, like I say, it could be with great intentions. Doesn't have to be a cheating intention.
No.
So unknowingly, they're not giving people the highest opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, like our spiritual master Siddhartha has said, a certain teacher who teached, one of the lower levels of perfection, who's to say, but was sincere in doing so, was doing it, with a real, true motive. Hold on a minute. Eula, can you bring me some water, please? But who's to say, because they were doing it with a true, motive to help people, who's to say where they are now? Because they left their body and obviously they moved on. And who's to say that now they are not, on the next path, the higher path,
I see.
or maybe on the highest path of Bhakti Yoga. In other words, it's not that everybody stays where they are, that, he was just an impersonalist, or he was just seeing this much.
I see what you mean.
But now who's to say if he's not, because his motive was right, his compassion was there, he really wanted to help people, he was giving what he thought was the best thing to give people, see? And all that counts. And, it just makes it so, they go further and further.
But
And
but you've said that yourself as well. I remember, like, always looking for the brighter light. But how do you know? Like, how do you know where? Is it just an internal confirmation that you know that you reached the end goal? Is there an end goal, or how do you know when you've, you know what I mean? Like, what's
well, yeah, I mean, the path of bhakti yoga, which is the path that we, promote, follow, etc., is obviously, the highest level, because it's the path of loving devotion. And even in this material world, there's nothing superior to love and devotion, whether it's for your dog or for your wife or for your children. That's a superior path to money and fame and, a new car and whatever. There's some deeper reward from a loving devotional relationship with another living entity than anything just external surface material. I mean, your heart knows that. So if you take that to the purview of the different spiritual paths, bhakti yoga is that path of pure loving devotion, but the personality, the object of the love and devotion, is the Supreme Person. You see, it's not an impersonal light, a void, becoming nothing, a becoming everything. It's beyond that. It's you could say the philosophy of the heart, And so, it doesn't take a lot of vision to see, well, yeah, that sounds more complete, more fulfilling, more satisfying, a real source of happiness, rather than isolationism or great austerities and penances and, maybe mystic powers and, merging into a light or whatever. I mean, if you just look at the two on their face value, one looks obviously more warm and friendly and fulfilling and filled with happiness and satisfaction than the other, And so, yeah, it's. But again, some people want that other path, that other result.
Yeah.
And so that's what they will get. So it's again individual.
But where does mindfulness fit into the whole field of spirituality and self-development? And
well, mindfulness now is kind of a buzzword.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about mindfulness. And because, people understand an out of control mind leads to an out of control life. And if your mind is just all over the place and driving you crazy, then you're crazy. and people understand that's not good. I mean, so that's why mindfulness is taught in many business corporations, in school to students, et cetera, because if you can't focus on your subject matter or your business or whatever it is, you're not going to be as successful as if you can. If you're studying for an exam and your mind is going to the past and to the future and, what you did yesterday, what you're going to do tomorrow, and this person in your life that's, attracting you. And so you can't really grasp what you're trying to grasp for the exam. So you've got to just kind of forcibly bring your mind back to this page and this information on this page, because you're going to need to know this tomorrow. See, so mindfulness means just focusing the mind on a particular subject. And most of the mindfulness that's taught, the techniques, and the goals are material. Be mindful of whatever your material goal is, and that's why it's so attractive now. And so it works. I mean, you can be more peaceful if you're not worried about the agitated mind, thinking about this and that, and the anxiety. What will happen if this goes down? What will happen if this occurs? Perceived results that you don't even know if that's going to be the result. But it produces anxiety. That's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very disturbing. So just be mindful of right now. Be here now.
Yeah.
Whether it's, this thing or that thing. If you're eating, and that's actually, it's, unique that when you eat, you should be mindful of your eating. I mean, it's been proven that's more healthy.
Yeah.
Cut off the TV, cut off the screens, cut off, even the conversations, and just focus on the eating and the chewing. It helps digestion and on and on and on.
Yeah.
So you can take any subject, and mindfulness has a part to play, and a positive part.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But in spiritual life, what is the benefit of mindfulness depends on what you're mindful of. See? In other words, all this material mindfulness doesn't really help you spiritually. It doesn't really purify the soul. It doesn't satisfy the soul. It might improve your material situation. It might make you more successful in business.
But that may not help you spiritually even.
Yeah, I mean, transcendental meditation, that was taught by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Their main focal point and their main clients were businesses and professional people, and they taught people how to, before the conference, or before that important phone call or whatever, to do this meditation, to calm the mind, to focus on the moment, and then you can go into this situation calm, peaceful, not stressed out, not in anxiety, and be much more successful in negotiating the deal, or, overcoming, your competition or whatever. And that was what produced them so much wealth and became very, very well known.
Yeah.
And of course individuals took it up too, but it was still kind of on that same level.
So tools that you can use to reach the goal better, whatever the goal is.
Whether if you're just sitting on the beach, mindful of the beach rather than, the sun is too hot and I'm bored, like, what can I do now? Just, chant your mantra and be happy with where you are and what's going on and so on. But that's nothing to do with spiritual life. It doesn't help the spirit soul at all. See? So mindfulness, whether it's good or bad or really beneficial or not, depends on what you're mindful of. So in Bhakti Yoga, the teaching is be mindful of the truth. Number one, be mindful of your true identity. I'm spirit soul. I'm not this material body. You see, that's an absolute truth. Nobody's mindful of that. The mindfulness is, I am the body, and, I am sitting here, and I am feeling this, and I am feeling the sun on my skin. I'm feeling my foot in my shoe. I'm feeling, my hat on my head, or, the breath control thing. I'm feeling the inhalation and the breath going to the abdomen and the oxygen being absorbed into the blood, all this kind of stuff. You see, it may be presented as this is a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Like all this breathing and mindful of the heartbeat and on and on. It sounds spiritual and is presented as spiritual in many cases.
Probably deeper,
but it's
than...
not. It's not. You see, it's material subject matter, maybe on a little more subtle level. Be mindful of your thoughts. We have a technique just to help people realize they're not their mind called silent witness technique, where you just sit, you close your eyes, and you observe the activity of the mind, which of course is thinking. So you observe the thoughts that go across the screen of the mind, like you're watching a movie. You don't take part, you don't get involved, because in everyday life, out of somewhere comes a thought. Maybe some material situation triggers it or whatever. And that thought immediately leads you to another thought and to another thought. And you just get on this whole journey of thoughts. And pretty soon you wind up far, far, far away from where the whole journey started. And you just go, wow, how did I get here? And then you can actually trace it back. Well, I thought of that, but before that of that, and this led me to that, and blah, 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 you know. And it started with an ant crawling across your foot.
That's true. The mind is just jumping from
it's just jumping around like a wild monkey, So, this silent witness technique is you're witnessing this from afar. You're not taking part. You're the silent witness observing that, which, helps a person understand I'm not my mind. You're not your thoughts. You're not your mind. It's just, a little technique to help you realize I'm not my body. I'm not my mind. I'm actually spirit soul, So Aham Brahmasmi, that's a mantra that yogis chant. Aham Brahmasmi means I am Brahman. I am spirit. Brahman means spirit. So you chant that mantra to make you mindful of your true identity. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit. I am spirit. And then gradually you start implementing that more and more when you look in the mirror. Aham Brahmasmi, I'm not this body, I'm not my face and hair and all the things I'm seeing reflected. I'm spirit. This is the vehicle. This is the covering. This is the temporary, me, material me, the false identity. So these are mindfulness techniques that really produce real spiritual results, you see. And so gradually, this is what, in all yoga processes, this is a mindfulness technique, awareness technique. There's various different variations of it to realize I'm not the body. Because all yoga paths, any yoga path that's a true yoga path, starts here. I'm not the body. I'm spirit soul.
Right.
Okay. So then, you add other truths to your mindfulness practice. I'm spirit soul, okay, but I'm also part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. Now that's another whole layer of realization. See, I'm not just independent, standalone spirit soul. I'm part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. There's a link up. There's a connection here. Just like if you thought you were Reuben and had no mother and no father, that wouldn't be really true. But if you come to a point of mindfulness where you realize, oh, but I have a father and I have a mother, that's another whole dimension.
I see. You become aware of
who
that.
You are. I am not only just Reuben, I'm Reuben, the son of, my parents. So this is taking us further and further, in the truth of who we really are. I'm not just spirit soul. Yes, I am, but that's not the end. That's the beginning. I'm part and parcel of the Supreme Soul, And then, well, what is my position in relation to the Supreme Soul? So this is where the different yoga paths go different directions.
I see. But they all converge on that point, spirit soul.
They start, I'm spirit soul.
Start on that point.
And some take you to the conclusion, I'm the Supreme Soul, or I am, everything. We're all one, etc., etc. See, that's impersonalist path. But in the Bhakti path, which is declared the topmost yoga system, see, I am part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. But what is my position here? Is it equal to? Is it greater to? Can I become the Supreme Soul? See, that's a question that we need to ask. See, there's a question and period involved in mindfulness. And the answer is no, I'm not the Supreme Soul. I'm always subordinate. I cannot become the Supreme Soul. I cannot become equal to the Supreme Soul. Just like you cannot become your father. See, you're always the son of your father. You can't be the father of your father. Not in this life, maybe next life. But no, we don't want to get into that.
That's complicated. Yeah,
that confuses things.
Exactly.
But anyway, the point is, you will always be the son of your father in this lifetime, and you can't change that. And you can't become equal to, because the son is always subordinate to the father. And that used to be a foundational understanding that all sons and daughters, children, had of their parents. See, I am subordinate. I'm not equal to. I'm not above.
Yeah.
Now it's become, the opposite. I'm above my parents, and, they're below me, and I tell them what to do. See, that's the perverted understanding of parent-child relationship. This is how perverted things get very quickly.
And the teachers.
But when I was young, it was completely, I'm the son, this is the father. He's the authority, I'm not.
Yeah. Which is a good thing spiritually, to know that and to have that, like, to accept authority, to be able to listen to someone else.
It's wonderful, because when you come to accepting the Supreme Lord as the supreme authority, you've already been trained in that mindset that there is this authority, and I am subordinate to that authority, So all these, moral, foundational, family, otherwise truths of life that used to be just incorporated into society, see, were also based on absolute truth, and also very conducive to helping a person grasp absolute truth and be comfortable with it. So when you destroy one, you destroy all. Everything has been destroyed now. The family structure, the moral principles, all the respect. If you can't respect your father and your mother, how can you respect God? How can you respect other living entities? There's no respect. So therefore, all authorities are suspect. Don't respect anybody. Challenge them. They're bad. They're against you. They will cause you harm. Whatever. See, so we've got all of this because it's been destroyed from the foundation up.
But that's it's gone to the extent that the ones that are supposed to be the authority may even use you or treat you bad. I was thinking that I would ask you about that. It's summertime. I think a lot of people are meeting their families now and struggling with often a lot of things that are not spoken about, a lot of bad communication, a lot of I guess also bad parenting, and like how to deal with that. Then
that's part of the story, you see, because parents today were the ones that were not trained properly in their youth.
Exactly.
You grow up and become a parent where you bring into parenthood what you got.
Yeah.
If you were taught respect and honesty and all that, then you still are in that consciousness.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be a bad parent. You're going to respect your children. You're going to listen to your children. You're going to try to give your children proper guidance, as much as you can, according to what you've got. But if you've got no education in how to live properly in life, how can you teach somebody else?
Can't.
So you can see it just carries on generation after generation, and each evolution gets worse. It gets more and more corrupted. The police, for instance, when I was young, people respected the police. And I don't know all police, of course, but the police, when people that I knew were honest, they were doing their job, they felt like they were the custodians of the citizens, and they were actually trying to help keep society as it should be, prevent the criminals from doing their criminal activity and helping people in need and So when you saw a policeman, you didn't go, "Oh my God, a policeman." You know, it was like, you know, I grew up in a small town. I knew them all. You know, my best friend's father was a highway patrolman. You know, and so, you know, it was different. They were authority. You respected that authority. You knew if you were speeding and they caught you, it was your fault.
Yeah.
And you had to pay the price. You had to pay the fine. And I mean, okay, I screwed up. You know, you didn't, you know, start a movement to, you know, defund the police. Yeah. But as respect and everything else deteriorated and, you know, just everything got destroyed, you know, then there's no respect for any authority in any position. And those people who came up into those positions of authority didn't have what they should have had to be in that position because they came out of this corrupted system, you know. And so therefore, why respect them?
I see what you mean.
You know? So you see how on all levels it just destroys itself from the inside. You know?
It's
But
so,
the mindfulness thing, back to the subject, you know, it's all connected. Because what are we mindful of? So if you're mindful of these truths, I'm spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. I'm always subordinate to the Supreme Soul. And function, don't forget function. What is my function as a spirit soul? You know?
like I have to do something. Yeah, like what?
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, I'm in this position. You know, it's a position. I'm subordinate to the Supreme Soul. Then what is my function? Just like if you have a position in a company, well, what is my function in this company? I'm the janitor. Okay, then I, you know, keep the halls clean and clean the bathrooms and clean the grounds. Okay, that's my function, you know. Or I'm a salesperson. That means I have to sell the product. Or I'm the CEO. That means I got to oversee the whole story. You see, in other words, everybody in a position in a corporation has a function, you know. Or what is my function as a mother? What is my function as a father? You see, everybody has a function throughout society, you know. And if it's done as it should be done, then there will be a good result, you see. But if it's not done as it should be done, then you have a bad result. So the function of the spirit soul, and this is on the eternal level now, this is not the temporary level. The eternal function of the spirit soul is to render loving service to the Supreme Soul. That's the eternal function of the soul. Okay? And if that is done, then the result will be perfect, you know. All the good qualities of the soul will come out. Kindness, loving, caring, nonviolent, truthful, you know, free of anger, and so on and so on, you know, filled with forgiveness, really caring about, you know, other living entities, not only humans, but animals and plants, etc., which automatically means caring for the environment. All kinds of good qualities come out of this. You see, that just is how the person is. They have, in Bhagavad Gita, is described divine qualities. You see. So if I'm mindful in this way, then mindfulness is perfect. And it's the process. It's the part of our process. You know, number 3 process in Bhakti Yoga, hearing, chanting, and remembering. What is remembering? Mindfulness. Wow. Remembering what? Remember who we are. Remember who God is. Remember our position, our function, you know, and then acting on it. You see, then the activity. Okay, I'm the janitor. I'm supposed to clean the hall. That's my function. Now I got to do it. See, now I got to get the broom, you know, and start sweeping, you know. So, you know, it comes with action. But if you're mindful and all these truths are prevalent, then your function is going to be beneficial for you, for your relationship with the Supreme Lord, for other living entities, etc. And that mindfulness is perfect. And when you're moving in this way, see, you're evolving spiritually, and that means advancing in your relationship with the Supreme Lord. Ultimately, gradually will come the appearance of love in your heart for the Supreme Lord. An actual relationship of love, just like back to Reuben and the father, you know. So when there is a loving relationship with another person, are you not always mindful of that person? Yes, of course.
Naturally, kind of thing.
It's just you can't not be, you know. There's those songs about, you know, the person who was so in love, but she broke his heart. And he said, I can't get you out of my mind.
He's totally mindful of her.
Yeah, totally mindful. You know, I can't get you out of my mind. Every blonde head he sees, it reminds him of her.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe every blue, you know, shirt or dress because her color was blue reminds, you know, or maybe the fragrance of some perfume that some other person's wearing, you know, oh, but that was her perfume. Everything is bringing him back to remembrance of the one that he still loves. You see? So it's all just perverted reflections of spiritual perfection. You see?
Wow.
So that mindfulness is absolute mindfulness, you know.
But how about the I mean thought patterns and changing and like you know, like you said you have, you know, different thoughts, you can see where they come from, but often it seems like a thought comes up and then like a feeling comes up and that feeling makes you act in a certain way, and then many times it's like you're stuck in acting a certain way because you're just like, yeah, it's just a pattern from the thoughts, the feeling come, and then you act from that way. Like how is that within Bhakti Yoga? How is that seen? How does
you know, knowledge, because, you know, our minds are not pure, our hearts are not pure. So all these different thoughts that you say and their accompanying feelings just almost spontaneously come up.
Yeah.
You see. But with knowledge, you see it for what it is. You know, okay, this is a thought that's not good for me, my well-being. This is somewhere I don't want to go. You know, I don't want to react to this thought as I used to. You know, maybe a thought would trigger, you know, a whole agenda before that you don't want to be involved in now.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so knowledge, intelligence. See, we have an intelligence for a purpose, you know, and that's to control things, you know, see it for what it is. You know, and so with intelligence, you know, I'm just discriminating. No, I don't do that. You know, I don't. The feeling might be there, but the action's not going to follow up because no.
Right.
And gradually the feeling will dissipate and go away. It's not so strong that it controls you, that it takes over. You know, and that's why we need to constantly chant and remember and purify and stay in the zone. Like an athlete has to constantly train to stay in shape. You know, you can't just neglect your training for very long without losing some physical, you know, ability. You know, you start going down very quick. So spiritual training is necessary every day. Training. So when the challenges come, you're strong enough to meet the challenge.
Yeah.
So again, the hearing, I mean, we need to hear these truths every day. And it reinforces it. It makes it so I don't forget, you know. But if I hear it once a month, in the other 30 days of that month, I've heard the other side of life, then what's going to be dominant in my life, you know? So I have to constantly practice.
And that's, again, like I remember you said in a previous talk, like you talked about the mind, intelligence, and false ego, that we should Like we should have the intelligence leading the mind, like above the mind, and not the opposite, not having the mind use intelligence for whatever objectives the mind wants to achieve. My goodness.
In the Vedas, it describes
Yeah.
intelligence as the ability to see things in their proper perspective. That's intelligence. The ability to see things in their proper perspective. Okay, so here comes this thought, whatever it is, And it produces a feeling that goes with it, blast from the past, maybe. But now your intelligence is able to put it in its proper perspective. No, this is not what I want to do. This is going to lead me down a primrose path. I don't want to go down there. See, I don't do this anymore. I've changed my life. I've changed my focus. I understand now things that I didn't understand then. So, therefore, your intelligence overrides your mind and the flood of thoughts and the accompanying feelings and emotions and,
Exactly.
the urge to
and
go
the attraction
do
to doing that. Yeah.
But your
Which can be
intelligence
super
is
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the more you practice, the more strength you have. So it's not strong. It's strong in the sense of it used to control you completely, but now you're strong yourself with intelligence and understanding. So now you can overcome this, you see. And you have to be very active in doing so, not just complacent and let it just sweep you along for a ride and then try to stop, Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you must curb the senses in the very beginning. See, the mind and the senses must be curbed in the very beginning, not later down the road somewhere.
When they formed this huge snowball, like you said sometime before, like when they started rolling, and it's all like, wow, really bad.
Runs you over.
Difficult.
I mean, the alcoholic has got to use his intelligence, and he's got to understand, just one beer won't be bad. It's not much alcohol in one beer. I'll just sit down with the boys and, be fine. It doesn't work. He is trained. If he's in one of these rehab programs, especially Alcoholics Anonymous, you can't do this. You don't go to the bar. You don't sit down with your friends. Don't have one beer because that will not work. You see, use your intelligence. This is going to just take you down. Okay, maybe tonight one beer, but tomorrow night, maybe one again, or maybe two. See, and pretty soon you're back to where you were before. But you can't do it. And the sponsor, if he's doing his job in this rehab program, is your watchdog. And it's your job to call your sponsor and say, hey, Pat, I got a problem here. I'm really tempted to. Don't do it. Don't go to that bar. But my friends, don't go to that bar. Listen to me. Come to my house, And so, but you have to be willing to make that call. I need help.
Yeah.
SOS.
Yeah.
So spiritual life is like that, I need help. Okay, help is in the name of the Lord. Chant the mantras. Help is in the name of the Lord. Pick up your beads. We have our japa meditation. Chant on your beads. Help is in the name of the Lord. Do Garanga meditation. Help is in the name of the Lord. Turn on some recorded chanting, or turn on, this podcast, or turn on, all kinds of avenues of protection here. There's so much available. Call your friend. You're quite, sponsor kind of guy. Hey, can we chant tonight? Or, is there a kirtan somewhere? I need to chant. But if you're just, willing to go the other direction, then you will. And the sponsor and the spiritual master and nobody else can help you.
No, you have to know how powerful the other forces are, and the way by which you can protect yourself from them. And know that you can't do that on your own, and not, yeah, that's.
Yeah, Bhakti Yoga process is not a lone process where you just go to a secluded place and sit down and, try to become perfect.
This is very, very difficult to be alone and to just try to do this on your own. I mean, it's really hard. We would need friends, so.
You need friends. I mean, we're gregarious animals. I mean, by nature, we like to associate. That's why the lockdown was so devastating to people. They were stuck at home alone, and rather take shelter on, the programs like, we offer and so on, because, 99.9% don't even know a thing about that. They just, entered into all levels of depression and, alcohol abuse and drug abuse and, domestic violence and whatever, because, it wasn't normal for them. See, they got no inner platform to stand on. It's all external. People retire from work and they don't know what to do with their life because for the last 50 years, they got up every morning and went to work, and then always dreaming about when I get to be 65, I'll retire, and go fishing. So they retire at 65. Okay, hallelujah. They have their retirement party. And then what? They go fishing. I told you this story about I met an old guy in the desert. Remember I told you that? Maybe I didn't.
I can't remember that.
I used to sell in markets in a desert town in Arizona, Four Corners. And it was just a little burg, a gas station, a little store and thing. But it was a market. The whole town was an open air market, and it was all through the spring, summer, and fall. But spring and fall were the best. Summer was too hot. And so snowbirds, we call them, people that lived in the cold countries, cold states, like, Montana and, upper Washington State and Canada and so on like this. They would come down to Arizona in their RVs and spend the winter there because, it was much warmer there. I mean, when it's still snow and minus big numbers where they were from, it was like plus 20 in Arizona. So they would come down there, mainly retired people, and just hang out. And these markets were just for them. And they just come and cruise the markets and buy clothes. And, there's a lot of stones for sale there, jewelry and stuff, a big gem and mineral show, whatever, it doesn't matter the details. But anyway, so I sold there. I was a seller there, and it was very lucrative because these guys are retired, they got money, they're living in an RV, they got no expense really other than food because they could camp on government land for free. And they didn't have anything to do, so they just wandered around, and bought things. And so anyway, there was this one old man that was a seller also. And I was talking to him one day. And he was talking to me about, I retired, 4 years ago or something. I worked hard all my life and finally retired. I said, so what are you doing here working? I mean, why are you here selling?
You're retired.
Yeah, you're retired, why'd you go back to work? And he said, why did I go back to work? Now you tell me, how many days can you just do nothing but fish? Like, how many days can you fish? He got sick of fishing and went back to work. Now he's got something real to do. Get up, go to work. So, yeah, this is the routine that people are in, So it's hard doing nothing. This was the original point, But in spiritual life, every day you do something, but it's something of value. It's just not something to take up your time. It's something to further your relationship, to serve God, to actually, now I'm doing something of value with my life, you see. So the hearing, the chanting, remember, practical service. Like what you and I are doing now is practical service. We're trying to spread these teachings to whoever may be receptive, you see. So it's a lot of things involved in this. You know, I got Slava here. He's the tech guy. You know, he's fully engaged in, you know, making it possible for us to stay on the air, you know, and, you know, it's on and on it goes. But it gives you a reason to live, and not just to pass the time, you know, not to just take up space in your life, but it's now of value. And this is fulfilling. This is really, you know, what life is about. And so.
And that's exactly what we're going to speak about next week.
Yeah. So mindfulness, I mean, you and I are mindful right now of this subject, of this whole presentation, of the value of this. You know, we're mindful of the audience and how possibly we can help them, and your advertising, and, you know, creating the whole, you know, intro video, and, you know, all the podcasts that we've made is mindful of the needs of people, mindful of the desire of our spiritual master to help him in his mission in this way. You see, he's asked everyone who is in this position of student and disciple, you know, to help pass it on, you know. And so that's what we're mindful of. You know, so mindfulness is just normal. You know, I don't have to take a course, you know, so I can sit down and feel the big toenail inside my left shoe. That's like, you know, what good is that?
This is a normal function, like you're saying. Mindfulness, like love, is mindfulness. If you're loving in this way, and if you're, you know, active, then that's real mindfulness. That's amazing. That's simple.
It's simple.
You know,
we say it again and again. I mean, you say it, I say it. Spiritual life is simple.
Yeah.
You know, it's not some very impossible, complex, extravagant thing that nobody can accomplish but a few people. It's the nature of the soul. It's who we are. It's our normal, natural self. And nothing's more natural than that. Yeah. Wow, Ruben, it's late.
Right.
We got a little late start, but
let's chant.
Let's have our little chant. And this is, you know, one way to practice mindfulness. Try to be mindful of the mantras. Focus on the mantras, you know. So, as you know, we've tried to make it very easy. The mantras, the same every week. You know, Hari Bol Gauranga. Goranga. Goranga Haribo. 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 Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Haribo, Nitagor, Nitagor, Haribo. Haribo, Nitagor, Nitagor, Haribo. Goranga Haribo, Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo, Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo, Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo, Goranga Haribo. 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 Haribol.
Haribo.
All right, Sankirtan. Very good mindfulness technique. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Active.
practice, practice, practice. You know, the mind is going to go where it goes. It's going to be what you allow it to be. So you control it like wild horse. You bring it in, you focus it, you practice. And
Yeah.
you get the result. So,
Yeah.
okay, I guess we will see you next time.
Thanks. Thank you, Balakhilya, for your time, and thank everyone for listening to this. And
Yeah, and
give it.
everybody leave your comments.
Yeah, please do. Well, and if you have any thoughts, questions, or we can bring it up in our talks. So this is so.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we're just kind of talking on, so put it out there. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, Ruben, have a good vacation or stay over there in Sweden.
So we hope you enjoyed this talk about mindfulness, and if you have any questions or things that are not clear, then we'd be happy to hear from you so that we can clarify and maybe bring up various points in the upcoming podcasts. So happy to have you joining us for today's talk, and hope to see you soon again. Remember to stay true to yourself and dare to break trail. And do subscribe if you are not already, so that you get updates on the upcoming episodes, or join our email list available at breakingtrail.life. Thank you.